Hello and welcome to Paris Set Me Free mini video tutorial. I came across this marvellous bike. You know the system of bikes in Paris where you can rent bikes. It's called Vélib, which stands for Vélo Libre, or free bikes, or free to take. You have to pay a little bit. Good system. I haven't yet joined it, I'm afraid. I'm always walking around, never get around to actually cycling. And they're a kind of uniform grey. Look at this one here. You see, that's a typical sort of shiny grey that it is. You get nice rows of them, make reasonably nice pictures. But look what I found. This bike, I mean, it's the same bike. These are 4 different photographs that I took of it. And our task today, if you choose to accept the mission, is to decide which one is best. In some cases, then, there isn't a best one. You just have to make a choice. And let me reiterate that if you don't make a choice, you're kind of saying none of them are good enough to stand alone. Because in an exhibition, for example, or in a portfolio, one subject, one photo of the same subject is enough. It could be more than enough if it's not a very good photograph. But I tell you what is no good, and that's 2 slightly different photographs of the same subject just because you can't make up your mind which is best, or if they are both good, you can't make a decision. You must make a decision. It's very important. Think of the strength of one hard-hitting photograph. When people see the photograph you've chosen, they won't be comparing it to another one that's similar. They won't know that you almost died making the choice between your 2 favourites. They won't know that. They will just see a picture, and if you've chosen well, it'll be an extremely strong picture and they'll be impressed. They won't be impressed if they see about 5 different shots of the same thing. So that's something, it's a terrible discipline to practice, but that's what you've got to do. How many times do I want to put different versions of the same photograph on my website? Many times, and I try very hard not to. Sometimes I cheat like this and show you 4. Okay, so what did I do? Well, I took different angles. It was standing next to a grey one, which is a marvellous contrast if you think about it, and you would think that would be a logical choice. The unbelievable colour of someone has had a field day on this. I don't know if they got punished for it or not. Next to the, supposed to be chic but rather bland looking sibling next to it. Having said that, the shot that I did take with this other bike for contrast, I'm not so happy with it. This is kind of, well, it's all right, but it's a bit messy. You can't see which wheels belong to which bike. And when you're trying to put 2 things in one shot, the danger is that neither of them look very impressive. So I must admit, I didn't go for this one. I'm also not so wild about the angles. So I brought it down to these 3. This one's got a nice angle, top left. It's almost a crazy angle. It's almost too crazy. I might have to tilt it, turn it anti-clockwise through 90 degrees to make it a little bit less seasick. Apart from that, what else is it? Yeah, so I'm not so sure about that one. It does have merit, but I mean, this is touching the edge here. This comes off the edge. The handle of the brake handle goes off. This kind of drifts into a kind of messy edge at the bottom. Nothing much is, well, there's a leaf there which is quite pleasing, but yeah, there's something wrong with this one. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's not very well composed. Now this one here I like a lot. Why do I like it? I like it because it's compact. You could almost draw a square. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, within the frame of the photograph itself, and it's almost a square. It's almost like the bike and its post it's attached to has been packed into a square. But I tell you what I really like about it, and that's the 3 colours: purple, orange and green. These are the 3 secondary colours. Unfortunately, the purple is it was reflecting the sky, and it's a slightly shiny surface, so it was very difficult to saturate that up enough to see that but you can see it's purple. You can. It's a little block of solid purple. This is a lovely circular bit of orange, there's curves here, and there's a big curve here, and there's another curve here. So it's a very curvy photo within a kind of square frame. So that's nice. And you've got green as well. So it's the three secondary colours. You know, purple made from red and blue, orange made from red and yellow, and green made from blue and yellow. So, you know, as an artist or someone with an artist's eye, that pleases me greatly. The fact that those three are compact. This compact little square, made up, the only colours more or less that you can see are those secondary colours, which go marvellously together because they contrast so much. You can't get, you know, any different from purple to green, green to orange, or orange to purple. And also because of the framing, it's not chopped. You know, the wheel isn't chopped, the post isn't chopped, the edge of this thing here isn't chopped. You can't avoid chopping it here. The pedal isn't chopped, you can't avoid chopping it here. So that's the one I chose in the end. There's a little leaf here, you know, there's a bit of stuff, I don't know what it is, it might be, I don't know. The other one I haven't considered is this one here, which also has great merits, I think. You've got the orange, you've got the green, it's a different angle completely, you've got the purple. You've also got the seat, you know, it gives more of a bike feel. It's also, I've gone in very close, you know, I've used my legs to zoom. I always say there's two zooms. One is the zoom on your camera, and the other is the zoom on your legs. And the zoom on your legs, in other words, when you, instead of standing in the same place and zooming with your lens, move your body so that you're close to the bike. This changes everything. The perspective changes in a way it doesn't when you use the zoom on your camera. So so don't forget that. It's very nice, you know. I framed it purposely so that this was completely within the frame, and you've got a kind of, I don't know, kind of V shape there to echo the V shape on the handlebars. Anyway, the one I chose in the end was this one. So if we just go back, you can see that this photograph is in fact this one here in the bottom left that I chose in the end for the reasons I gave. So just to reiterate what I've done, I don't even think I've cropped. I think I've left it as it was, because I try extremely hard to have taken the photograph when I click, and although, you know, within the constraints of the proportions of the frame and so on, you can't change that, but you know, it's a great discipline which comes from the old days. It comes from the days when every time you clicked the shutter button you spent money. You should try your best to click on photographs you think are worth taking. Having said that, there are exceptions, and one of the great things about digital photography is you can actually shoot an awful lot of photographs and just get rid of the rubbish. But having said that, that should be secondary or in special cases. So all in all, this is a very nice tight photograph with amazing colours. I've bumped up the orange and green and so on, tried to make that purple as purpley as possible. Didn't succeed too well. There's another little bit of pinky purple down there. There's leaves, which is nice, bit of natural paraphernalia, a bit of old rubbish here, never mind. The pavement there blocking in that bottom right hand corner nicely. And I've come in very close with a wide angle lens to give a much sexier feel to the photograph than just standing back and taking a photograph of a bike with all its boring surroundings. I'm obviously looking down on the bike as well, which gets rid of a whole load of problems, such as trees, rubbish bins, people going past, beer cans and all the rest of it. So a rather more cheerful photograph than some of the recent ones. The vélo, the French vélo that didn't want to be like the others. That's all for today. Thanks for visiting. See a high quality version of the original on the blog at parissetmefree.blogspot.com. See you next time. Bye bye.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.